Allah Azza wa Jal in Surah Al-Haqqa, the first ayah is just one word, Al-Haqqa, which has several meanings, but the easiest way you can think of it is reality. Mal-Haqqa, what is reality? وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا-الْحَاقَّةُ, and what could give you any clue as to what reality is? Because Allah is claiming in this surah that most human beings don't live in reality. Most human beings come up with their own version of what is real, and then that decides the kind of life that they live. And so Allah is challenging every human being in this surah to step back and think about reality once again. We wake up in the morning and immediately we have very real tasks in front of us. There's work, there's family, there's obligation, there's things that we get involved with every day. We can be so involved in doing everyday things that we can't step back and look at the bigger picture and ask ourselves a bigger question. Where is my life going? Because you're so busy in everyday things. And so what Allah does in this surah is He approaches the question of reality in different ways. When all of these small moments of our life are going to come to an end, sooner or later we're going to be under the ground. And then after that, the true event, the ultimate reality is going to begin. And this is the scene that Allah will describe, and how reality, true reality, is what's coming on Judgment Day. فَإِذَا نُفِخَ فِي الصُّورِ نَفْخَةٌ وَاحِدَةٌ, then when the horn will be blown into a single time. We know that on Judgment Day there are two horns. Allah describes two horns. Now Allah will combine both of those scenes into one in this surah. Allah Azza wa Jalla says elsewhere in the Quran, وَمَا يَعْلَمُ جُنُودَ رَبِّكَ إِلَّا هُوَ. Nobody knows the armies of your Rabb except Him. When this horn is sounded, every creation of Allah acts as if they were reserved soldiers waiting for this signal to get in position. All the angels of Allah, the skies, the clouds, the earth, everything starts moving into this position for this event, for this presentation. And so what Allah describes right after this, فَإِذَا نُفِخَ فِي الصُّورِ نَفْخَةٌ وَاحِدَةٌ وَحُمِلَتِ الْأَرْضُ وَالْجِبَالُ. The earth and the mountains start getting lifted up, they start getting carried. The idea of them being, the earth and the mountain being carried is strange because everything else is carried by them. The earth carries me and you. The earth carries our homes. The earth carries everything. And the mountains carry all of the trees and the rock and everything else. They're not the ones that are carried, they're the ones that do the carrying. Allah is already describing a scene where everything we thought to be real is being reversed. What we thought will always be in place, what we thought has weight, it seems like it's losing weight. It's just being carried. فَدُكَّتَا دَكَّةً وَاحِدَةً, then it will be slammed down. And dak in Arabic is to slam something down when it becomes flat, right? This idea is what Allah is describing is going to happen to the entire earth. So the ups and downs of the earth disappear. Other places in the Quran, Allah will describe this as إِذَا الْأَرْضُ مُدَّتْ, when the earth is going to be stretched flat. Or in Surah Al-Kahf, He describes this as صَعِيدًا جُرُزًا, flat land, and slippery land. But here He describes it will be slammed down and laid flat. Now, the idea of something being laid flat means it's a surface that's being prepared. Why is the earth being turned into this flat surface? He says, فَيَوْمَئِذٍ وَقَعَتِ الْوَاقِعَةِ. On that day, the actual event will have taken place. Now, He already said al-haqqa, now He's saying al-waqi'ah. But al-waqi'ah is a really interesting word because it comes from waqi', and waqi' means a heavy weight. It means a heavy weight. So Allah is saying on that day the heavy weight shall be dropped. The ultimate reality will happen. So this is what was happening on the earth. The earth has been made flat. Then Allah says, وَانْشَقَّتِ السَّمَاءُ. Then the sky is going to be ripped open. The word inshiqaq is used if you have a cloth and you tear it in the middle. And you get this slit in the middle, right? That's called inshiqaq, right? So Allah uses that word to describe what's happening with the sky. وَانْشَقَّتِ السَّمَاءُ. Then on that day, it just starts opening up. And وَالْمَلَكُ عَلَىٰ أَرْجَائِهَا. And so as the sky starts opening up, then Allah says the angels are going to start lining up in the opening. Now I want you to appreciate what's happening here. In ancient times, when armies used to conquer, the ancient cities used to be gated up by giant walls, and they had giant gates, and they put lots of fortifications on the gates because the enemy cannot come through the wall. The enemy is going to have to come through the gates. And when they open, if the gate gets broken and the gate gets opened up, that means that city has been conquered. And once that city is conquered, the new army, the invading army, they line up around the gate to welcome the general, to welcome the conquering king. You're getting prepared for the conquest, right? And it's the scene that's being borrowed in the language of these ayat, in that first the land was made flat. Then the sky was torn open. Now what's the idea of the sky torn open? The sky is empty space. It's void. What do you mean the sky is torn open? There's the seen dimension in which you and I can see each other and we think this is real. But in this very moment, there are angels in our presence. In this very moment, there are kiram and katibin, noble angels that are documenting everything in a script. It's not even written in ink, it's kitabul marqum, it's being stitched into the pages. Because you know the idea of ink is that if water hits it, it can get smudged. Or you can rub it with your thumb and it can get smudged. But if you stitch the writing in, embroidery, we call it embroidery, our deeds are being embroidered into the page. Kitabul marqum. This is raqam in Arabic. That's how it's being recorded. But that's happening right now, but we don't see it. Because it's happening behind a curtain. And the curtain is called the ghaib, right? Behind the veil of the ghaib. What's going to happen on Judgment Day? Well, you know, فَكَشَفْنَا عَنْكَ غِطَاءَكَ. He says, we've lifted the cover. We've lifted the cover from you. So there is a cover on my eyes right now which keeps me from being able to see the unseen. So Allah is now saying that the curtain of the unseen is being torn open. It's the unseen world. And they start coming through into the seen world. So now for the first time, human beings can see the angels on Judgment Day. And this gate that's been opened, that's been torn open, the angels, Allah describes, they start lining up all around the sides of this gate. وَالْمَلَكُ عَلَىٰ أَرْجَائِهَا وَيَحْمِلُ عَرْشَ رَبِّكَ فَوْقَهُمْ يَوْمَئِذٍ ثَمَانِيَةً. And the arsh, the throne of your Rabb, is going to be carried on that day by 8. Allah doesn't say what the 8 is. The Mufassirun would discuss these are 8 special angels that are assigned to carry the throne. Now, are these 8 angels? Are these 8 other creations of Allah that Allah has described? Are they, Ali radiallahu anhu and other Sahaba said, is it 8? Is it 8,000? We don't know what these 8 are. And that's something Allah didn't tell us. So why is all of this happening? Why is the earth being slammed flat? Why is the sky being torn open? Why are the angels showing up all of a sudden? Why is the throne arriving? Why is all of this happening? Allah says, يَوْمَئِذٍ تُعْرَضُونَ. The day on which you will all, He's talking to me, He's talking to you. You will be brought for presentation. لَا تَخْفَى مِنْكُمْ خَافِيَةً. Nothing that had ever been hidden will be hidden from you today. So you notice something. Really big things were happening, and all of a sudden, the really small thing that was hidden from the entire world, nobody knew except you and me, the things that I said, the things that I did, the intentions that I had. Even if people saw my actions, they didn't see my intentions. They were hidden. And on that day, nothing hidden will remain hidden. This huge event where the skies and the earth got rearranged, re-engineered. The entire purpose of it was you and me. This is all preparation for the event. The question arises, Allah Azza wa Jal is Al-Hakim. He owns all wisdom. إِنَّمَا أَمْرُهُ إِذَا أَرَادَ شَيْئًا أَنْ يَقُولَ لَهُ كُنْ فَيَكُونَ. Allah just says, be, and it becomes. So Allah could just decide immediately, as soon as I die, put him in Jahannam, put him in Jannah. He could decide immediately. He doesn't need a full event. He doesn't need to tear open the sky and have the angel show up, and then the throne is showing up, and then every single deed is being counted. Allah doesn't need to count the deeds. Allah knows everything already. Actually, this is because of the concept of justice. Human beings, one of the things they desire is justice. And how is justice done? There's two things that have to happen if you want to have justice. One thing that has to happen is there has to be fairness in the trial. And the second thing that has to happen is you have to show the trial. You can't do it in secret. If the police arrest someone and they take him and they put him in jail and they say, no, he was found guilty. When was he found guilty? Where was the trial? Oh, that was held in secret. Trust me, it was fair. Well, if it was secret, the immediate thing that everybody will think is, if it was so fair, why are you hiding it? Why aren't you showing the evidence? Somebody could be thrown in Jahannam and they could say, oh, yeah, Allah put me here, but I was a pretty good guy. I don't even know why I'm here. Even if they're not a good person, they could have that excuse because it wasn't shown, right? In fact, some people even try making excuses on Judgment Day. And what does Allah do? Allah shows, لا تخفى منكم خافية, nothing will remain hidden, nothing good will remain hidden, nothing bad will remain hidden, and you yourself, I myself will testify that Allah did fairly, that this was a fair trial. No unfairness was done to anybody. فَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ خَيْرًا مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ شَرًّا يَرَهُ. The smallest amount of good and the smallest amount of bad, you'll get to see it yourself. That's the point of it. Allah has done this much preparation, so many ayat dedicated to the preparation of the event, from the sounding of the horn, to the tearing of the sky, to the angels lining up, to the throne showing up, all for what major event? My deeds, your deeds. That's how important our deeds are to Allah. We think they're small. So we never think lightly of the words that come out of our mouth. We don't think lightly of the deeds that we do. That's the point of it.